Compliance with Chapter 231 of the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey. Adequate notice has been given to all members of the governing body and to the newspapers so designated to receive said notice. Also, notice of this meeting has been posted on the Borough Bulletin Board. I ask that you please rise for an invocation followed by a salute to the flag.
Dear Lord, please look after our uniformed personnel, both those overseas fighting for our freedom and those here at home keeping us safe. Please look after the residents of Mountainside during this summer season, and please help us with our deliberations today so that we make decisions for the best of our town. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you. Be seated, please. Take a roll call, please.
Councilman Lane is absent. Councilman Messler.
Here.
Councilman Marabelli.
Here.
Councilman Mortimer.
Here.
Councilman Turner.
Here.
Councilman Was.
Here.
This evening, I have signed two resolutions of congratulations for our children at Deerfield School. The valedictorian for this year's class is Logan Turner, Keith Turner's son, but more important, son of Susan Turner, who had most of it to do about the child getting to be valedictorian. And the next is salutatorian for Abigail Pires. And is that Anne Marie Pires's daughter, or a different Pires?
Different pirates.
And we will be giving them, Councilman Marabella, at the graduation, we're giving them a savings bond on behalf of the borough government, and also the resolution of congratulations. And also this evening, we have another resolution for the retirement of the health officer, Bob Shear. I remember when he started working, and he's retiring, and I'm still here. Something wrong with that man. And he got paid, and he's getting a pension, and I'm still here. On that, I'm going to ask Councilman Was if you would please do the honor in doing the resolution of appreciation.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas Robert Shear has diligently served the citizens of our borough as a health officer of Mountainside Board of Health since its inception with the Westfield Regional Board of Health, and whereas Robert Shear has worked with the borough of Mountainside for 30 years and through interlocal service agreements has shared his expertise with local communities, and whereas after serving more than 3 decades, Robert Shear has made a decision to retire. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Mountainside congratulates Robert Shear on his retirement following his many years of service to the community, and be it further resolved that the Borough of Mountainside commends Robert Shear for those dedicated years of service and wishes to him prosperity in his retirement endeavors.
I have to say to the mayor and council.
Come up to the mic.
I just want to say
You're not used to speaking in public, Bob. I know.
no, I just want to say to the mayor and council that it was a pleasure working with all the members of the mayor and council, especially the mayor for all those years, and with Jim Debbie, the administrator, and the members of the Board of Health. It made my job easy in Mountainside. We always tried to do the best for the residents here, and I hope you were satisfied with the services. And I hope the arrangement with the town of Westfield continues for many years. I think it's good for both communities. So with that, I thank you very much.
Well, don't go away. I think there's members of the board who'd like to come up.
Okay.
Doctor?
Mayor and Council, I'm Joe Calderon, the President of the Board, and at the risk of sounding redundant, we have a resolution that we passed at our last meeting. And if I could be allowed to read this.
Please.
A resolution of congratulations and thanks to Robert Shear. Whereas Robert Shear has been affiliated with the Board of Health of the Borough of Mountainside, New Jersey since 1978, and whereas during that time he has served in the role of advisor and health officer for the Borough of Mountainside, and whereas his advice has always been learned, accurate, impeccable, and appreciated, and whereas after more than 3 years of service to Westfield, New Jersey, Mountainside, New Jersey, and the surrounding communities, he has decided to retire, be it resolved that the Board of Health of the Borough of Mountainside, New Jersey congratulates Robert Shear on his retirement after his many years of service to the community, And be it further resolved that the Board of Health of the Borough of Mountainside, New Jersey thanks him for those many years of service. And be it further resolved that the Board of Health of the Borough of Mountainside wishes him and his family success in all their endeavors. And now therefore be it resolved by unanimous affirmation by the members of the Board of Health of the Borough of Mountainside on this 9th day of June, 2008.
Again, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're going to stick around somewhere in the area. You're not going to totally disappear, right?
No, I'll still be around. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thank you.
30 years, a third of a century. Next I have, you've all received a copy of the minutes of the regular meeting of March 20th. I'll entertain a motion to accept said minutes or correct if necessary.
So moved.
A motion, I have a second.
May 20th.
Second.
Any other questions, comments, or corrections? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler,
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli,
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Was.
Yes.
Next, you have received the minutes of the work session of June 3rd. Again, I'll accept said minutes if appropriate, correct if necessary.
So moved.
I have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler,
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli,
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Was.
Yes.
Next, I have the second reading and public hearing on ordinance 1142-2008. Councilman Mortimer?
An ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank as allowed by law under NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have any questions or comments by council? At this point, I'll open the meeting to the public to discuss ordinance 1142-2008.
Seeing no public participation, I move that section be closed.
Motion to close the public session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler,
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli,
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Was.
Yes.
Next, I have Resolution 89-2008. Bob?
Yes, this resolution will authorize an amendment to the 2008 budget by adjusting for an increase in the amount of $37,107 in municipal aid from the state of New Jersey and a modification in the community pool budget in the amount of $7,706. So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
What's the 77, is that an increase for the pool?
No.
Is it decrease?
Jill, if I say this incorrectly, correct me. When we prepared the budget, Jill and I felt that since our Director of Recreation, Frank Maselli, also works for the pool, that we put $7,706 of his salary in the pool line. The geniuses in Trenton disagreed and said, no, they would not allow it, that we have to put him back into the regular budget with the borough, and we could not, even though his title is Director of Pool Management, yada, 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 so we had to modify the budget by $7,706.
Does that affect the cap, Bob?
I'm not right. Okay, I'm gonna get corrected.
Part of his salary down to pool to more equally, like the mayor said, to justify the time spent at the pool versus the time of recreation. And because we moved some of that money out of our municipal budget to the utility, we had to take a cap-based adjustment to reflect that change. So we had to bring in $7,000 more of surplus because we were moving his salary down to the utility. So it was a cap-based adjustment.
But it was because of the pool management salary.
Yes, that was
Okay.
it was approved that that part go down to the.
I stand corrected on that. It's the same thing, but just the movement of the monies. Did it affect our cap, was your next question?
Yeah.
It did affect.
Yes.
That's what happened. It affected the 4% cap. We were a tiny bit above that because of that adjustment. So in order to compensate for that, we had to bring in, 7,000 more of town surplus to offset the, money going down to the pool.
We couldn't use the additional municipal aid to cover that?
Well,
Right.
whatever. And because we brought the 7,000, we realized 30,000 of the, well, we realized the whole municipal aid, but it was offset by the 7,000, so that, the budget still went down about 30,000 to the residents. It didn't affect, it lowered the amount to be billed to the residents.
By 30,000 instead of 37,000.
I don't know the exact numbers, similar to that. Right, so we still appreciated the reduction because of the state aid, but it had to be offset by the other.
But it sounds like we're paying twice for this 7,700. We shifted it to the utility, and then if we had to put it back in our,
It's an exception to the, we had to take a cap-based adjustment for that. It's a difficult concept to understand, but if you're shifting something to the utility, there's a formula. Things are added to the cap and things are subtracted off of the cap base. And this was an add-on to the cap base.
so that helped us? Because we got to go 4% above the 7,700?
No, it didn't help you. You think it would help you, but they say if you're moving any money out, well then, we're not gonna allow your cap-based adjustment for that. So in order to make up for it, we had to use an extra $7,000 in surplus.
And so it's a confusing topic, the cap base. It's very confusing. The bottom line is the pool is paying for his salary now.
But we still had to take it out of surplus. So it sounds like it hurts us by moving it to the pool. Would it have been better to leave it in the budget?
They weren't gonna let you leave it in the budget. They're saying, oh, well, that guy's salary should be there, then, well, you have to spend that over there then. Once they knew that, the guy's salary belonged over in the pool, they said that the borough had to move the appropriation to the pool side.
It's just that you're only allowed to increase the budget by 4%.
Right, and since we lost his salary, the cap of that salary we lose as well.
Right, correct. It just has to do with 4% increase.
You okay, Paul?
Any
I
other
don't really
questions on
understand this,
council?
but
We'll draw you pictures later.
I don't know if that's gonna help.
Any other questions on council? At this time, we'll open the meeting to the public to discuss the budget.
No, we're still on 89,208, Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry. Resolution. Okay, I'm sorry, the budget amendment, thank you. Any other questions on 89,208? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Up too soon.
Councilman Mirabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
Okay, now we have Resolution 86-2008, a resolution adopting the 2008 budget for the Borough of Mountainside and appropriating funds in the amount of $6,594,002.44 for municipal purposes. I'll ask for an introduction.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any questions on council? At this time, I'll open the meeting to the public to discuss the budget, Resolution 86-2008.
Go ahead. Be my guest.
Seeing no public participation, I move that section be closed.
I have a motion to close the public portion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? When the tax bill goes out, and I still have not been able to complete the letter that I put together for the residents because we are still waiting for the numbers from the county and we're still waiting for the numbers from the state. The letter will be a one-page, two-part. The one page will have charts showing all of the increases that the borough received this year and where they came from. And the second is a narrative of what is going on with the financial stability of the borough of Mountainside. And I indicate on that an approximate increase in the taxes. I've also indicated that this governing body has reduced some services. We reduced all department spendings with the exception of the fire company or fire department and rescue squad by 5 to 15%. We have not budgeted any new police cars from the local rate this year. We've reduced our police force by one officer by not replacing an officer who's no longer with us. And we reduced spending for recreation, public works, and capital improvements, and have not increased our surplus, which was already reduced 2 years ago. And this letter, when I get the rest of the information, will be added to a chart that will be a one-page, two-side going out with the tax bills to the residents, trying to explain to them what's going on in the borough of Mountainside and the state of New Jersey. Any other questions or comments before I poll the board on the budget? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
Next, I have Resolution 82-2008. Paul?
Under NJSA 40A:5-4, this resolution will certify that the governing body has received and reviewed the 2007 annual report of audit, specifically the section entitled General Comments and Recommendations. So moved.
A motion, I have a second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Martha's going to need some of you later tonight to sign the document. Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
Next, I have Resolution 83-2008. Keith?
Resolution 83-2008, having reviewed the 2007 audit report, this resolution will approve the corrective action plan as submitted by the borough's Chief Financial Officer, Joe Good. I make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
Next, I have Resolution 84-2008. Jeff?
This resolution will authorize the Rahway Valley Sewer Wastewater Management Plan be amended to the Northeast, Upper Raritan, and Lower Raritan, Middlesex County Water Quality Management Plan, and that plan will be submitted to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection as required under NJAC 7:15-3.4.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
The next resolution, 85-2008, has a lot of colons, semicolons, commas in it, and Councilman Turner asked me to give it to Councilman Messler. Bob, it's
I
your
was actually
turn.
gonna say that. Due to the various reasons, the following property owners are entitled to receive refunds for the overpayments on Block 15E, Lot 33, for $410.29. Block 5F, Lot 5, for $1,867.05. Block 3A, Lot 20K, for $2,440.95. Block 5T, Lot 7, for $1,893.62. Block 15E, Lot 11, for $1,954.34. Block 22A, Lot 8.03, for $697.79. Block 7G, Lot 8, for $2,939. Block 16A, Lot 40, for $89.63. So moved.
Very good. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
You want to hear it over again? Any questions or comments? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
The next one I have is Resolution 87-2008. Jeff?
A homeowner at Block 4C, Lot 17P, 1403 Coles Avenue, has applied and received 100% disability from the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, and therefore, under NJSA 54:4/3.30, this resolution will exempt the homeowner from property taxes, the effective date of application May 6, 2008.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Was?
Yes.
Next, I have Resolution 88-2008. Glenn?
This resolution will refund an escrow deposit in the amount of $2,500 to Hoff Brothers Plumbing and Excavating LLC for a road opening permit at 1441 Forest Court as recommended by the Borough Engineer Michael Disco Jr.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Costless money.
Hold the council, please.
Councilman Messler,
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli,
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Was.
Yes.
Next, I have Resolution 90-2008. Keith?
Resolution 90-2008 will authorize the Police Department to purchase a 2008 Ford Crown Victoria under the New Jersey State Contract Bid Number A-70462 in the amount of $20,835. I make that motion. We are not increasing the fleet by one. This is going to be for a replacement of a vehicle.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Before I call a vote, a couple of minutes ago, I said
Yeah, I was gonna say,
we're not buying any police cars from the present budget. We are not. This is coming from a grant from Highway Safety. We are not using money from the borough budget. We have a grant this year, and hope to God we have it again next year, because we have not budgeted any cars this year. Any other questions or comments? Hold the council, please.
Councilman Messler.
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli,
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Was.
Yes.
Next, I have second reading and public import of ordinance 1143-2008. Paul?
This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 3, Article 3-9 of the Code of the Borough of Mountainside to add to the borough's property maintenance code, a provision entitled Portable Containerized Property Storage Facilities for the purpose of regulating the use of such PCFSFs. So moved.
Without the P. Portable container property. No, it's in there, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't say it though, PCPSF.
Oh. Okay,
Probably should have done that one too.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any questions or comments on the ordinance for PCPSFs? Yes, sir. Please come up and state your name and your address.
Orlando Silva, I'm with Pods of Edison, New
Can you
Jersey.
spell your name for the record, sir?
Orlando Silva, ORLANDOSILVA,
And again, who you represent?
with Pods of Edison, Central Jersey.
Thank you.
We're at
Go ahead,
99
Mr. Silva.
Mill Road. I'm just asking if you had, if the council had time to receive or read the letter that our Regulatory Affairs Department sent over to the.
We did read that last 2 weeks ago. It came to our attention on our work session. We did, sir.
And I was just wondering if took into any consideration anything we asked for, if possible.
Actually, we absorbed what you said, and the ordinance reflects some of your desires, but not all of your desires. And while I have you here, sir, I was shocked to see your company. I assume any pod that comes into Mountainside comes from your company?
I would say
99%?
99%, because there might be a neighboring franchise that might redeliver into the area.
Okay, I saw a pod that is totally inappropriately placed on the very edge of the driveway, barely coming in from the street, which cuts the view from the intersection. And I was amazed because reading the letter that I received from your company, it appears that that is something that you guys frown upon.
It is, sir.
And then I said, well, myself, well, who put the pod there? I'm sure the homeowner didn't take it off the truck and put it there. It had to be a representative from your company.
Absolutely correct, sir. And at times, we do struggle a lot of times with residents and customers that they want the container placed exactly where they want it. And to avoid any conflict, sometimes the driver just places it where our customer is asking for it to place it. But we also, in our contracts that we state, that we'll work with any law enforcement to remove the container immediately if it possesses any type of, if it's blocking the view of pedestrian, walkway, or vehicular, we will remove it right away.
Mr. Silver, we're not a hard town to deal with.
Yes, sir.
And I'm bringing this to your attention for a purpose. If your firm has to deliver a pod that you feel is not in compliance with our ordinance, and the resident is giving you grief to have you place it there, I would strongly suggest you phone Borough Hall. We can help rectify it, saves you from having aggravation with the client, it saves the client from getting mad at us, and you want it to be safe, and we want it to be safe.
We absolutely want it to be
You don't want your
safe.
pod run in by a truck.
Absolutely not. And we wouldn't want an accident caused by a pod not being blocking the view from pedestrian or vehicular.
Well, you'd probably have an exposure there, since our ordinance on the one that I saw is in violation, and if your people knowingly put it there, and I'm sure the owner couldn't move it, you probably have an exposure there if an accident did occur.
Absolutely correct,
So,
sir.
being fair to you, I strongly suggest 232-2400. Ron, what's your extension?
409.
232-2400.
409.
I'm sorry, you give me.
You understand?
Here, 2409.
232-2409.
I'll get you direct.
232
2409.
2409.
Gentleman's name is Ron Romack. He's our zoning enforcement person.
You have a card, right, Ron?
And he'd be probably happy to work with you, because we're both for the same reason.
Right, another thing we do also, once an ordinance is passed, we will put it on our software. So if a customer is calling in from the town and they give that certain zip code, immediately our call representative will let them know what regulation is in that particular town, borough, or city. So, and it's also posted on the website when the customer is looking into it. So we do strive to be great corporate citizens and try to uphold anything that, any law or ordinance that you might impose on us, but we just want it to be fair for everybody.
And we're trying to be, in fact, what we're going to be doing, Mr. Silva, in a very near future, in one of our publications that we send out to the residents, we're going to put a paragraph in telling there's a new law that refers to, and we can't say pods, because that is a registered trademark, and we don't want it to become like Kool-Aid or Band-Aid or Kleenex.
Not only that, it'll just, if you say pods, pretty much, there's other competitors
Yes, and then it
out
could be negative against you. So we're going to call it a PCPSF and explain to the residents that no matter who they order this PCPSF from, they have the same rules and regulations. If they get it from their cousin who works at the docks and it's a 25-foot trailer that they drop off and, you know, I mean, we have to regulate it.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, 10 years ago, neither you nor I knew what a pod was.
Correct.
And what happens is people get sloppy,
True.
be it the company or the resident or both. And then all of a sudden, government's got to act.
I agree.
And we're not trying to hurt you, we're not trying to hurt the resident, but we're trying to be fair to the entire community. Originally, we discussed about saying you could only leave it there for 7 days, and council then went for 30. We understand that if you come to my house and you take it to your facility, I pay you a storage fee.
Correct.
If we left it open-ended, people are going to try to save whatever they can, and we'd have pods sitting out there growing like mushrooms.
And that was never intended. Our intentions were always to provide a temporary solution for storage. This is why we offer our storage centers. I understand that there's people who are doing renovations to their homes and trying to beautify their homes, which, of course, they want to keep the pod on site. And we do agree that 30 days is an actual great time for them to have it on there. And if they needed it extra, by all means, get a permit to
They're going to need a permit for the first 30.
Okay.
And we are not going to just carte blanche say, oh, you've got this excuse, you can go 30, 60, 90, and before you know it, it's 1 year.
Correct.
And we're here to take care of the entire neighborhood. And, you know, and be honest with you, yours are clean, they're nicely painted. They're still an eyesore to a lot of people.
I agree. If they're on somebody's property, and if I was a neighbor and I saw it there over 30 days or something like that, I would complain as
And
well.
your pods do something else. They breed dumpsters. When you see the pod,
You see a
it
dumpster.
gave birth to a dumpster next to it.
Because usually people are renovating their homes.
Exactly, sir. And I can show you half a dozen of them, and I'm just telling you.
Correct. Yes.
So, like I said, we're not hard to get along with. You have a question, 2409, he just gave you his direct number.
Okay.
And appreciate you coming down here, and
if
we're all
I
looking
may-
for the same thing.
If I may, I'll leave my card.
Sure.
If there's any issues.
Mr. Romack, right there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're quite welcome, Mr.
Thanks.
Silva. Have a good day.
I stole your pen, too.
Do I have any other questions or comments on this ordinance?
I
Yeah,
thought
just one. I don't want to pass it until he gives me my pen back.
How do you think he gets his pens? Pod can't afford them.
You could leave a case of them with, Ron.
Yeah, right. Thank you,
The
Mr. Silva.
advertisement on Channel 35 worth.
Paul, you said something?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna put a provision in here about existing pods when we passed the ordinance, that they were not gonna be grandfathered, or what the process was gonna be in the event there was a pod on somebody's property
I think
when
that
the
would be-
ordinance became effective. The only thing I see is in, number 7, talks about in the event, a PCFSF is situated on the property without a permit, the property owner or occupant shall submit an application as described within 24 hours of the abatement notice. I thought we had talked about putting some specific language in about pods existing as of the date that the ordinance was effective. And I don't know what that covers it. I guess if we send them a notice,
I
once the,
think what's required, Paul, is that the person who has the existing pod
right,
without a permit has to get an abatement notice. So there is some action on our part required with regard to existing pods. But, I mean, as a
would this
functional
cover,
matter,
I thought this was gonna cover the guy that, once the ordinance was in place, that he goes and he puts a pod on his, in his driveway and does not get a permit. Because I noticed, I see the $200, the application fee was increased from 50 to 200. I thought that was the instance where somebody tried to sneak one in without getting a permit.
I think it applies in both cases,
Okay, so as long as that you're
to
comfortable.
existing pods and also new pods where a guy
So
doesn't get a permit.
the pods that are out there now, once this ordinance become effective, we should be sending them abatement notices
Yes.
immediately.
Correct.
And their 30 days counts from when the ordinance is passed. Any prior time doesn't count against that.
Wait a second now. I think I'm hearing it, but I'll make sure. It's $50 application if you come in legal.
If you come in ahead of time.
Correct. If you don't, it's 200 applications.
Right, that's what
a
7.
penalty.
That's what 7
Yeah,
says.
I'm just, okay. That's the
As long as
penalty.
they submit their application within 24 hours, I think if we give a notice, they have to come down within 24 hours and get the permit. If they don't get it in 24 hours, then they have a $200.
No, it's not. But see, that's, I thought we were gonna have the way, specifically 7 was designed to penalize the person who tries to sneak it in. We changed it from 50 to 200.
But it does
Correct,
say-
Ron?
That is correct.
Okay, but what this, I think, and if we're comfortable, John, with this also applying to pods that are existing when the ordinance becomes effective, then I'm okay with it. Because it sounds like what we have to do is send out the abatement notice the day the ordinance is effective. We have to go around and give everyone that has them one of these abatement notices.
Correct.
An abatement notice is not a $200.
That one, yeah, it is.
But is that fair to somebody who's got it in their front lawn? You're gonna all of a sudden, because we put something in, that they get a $200 fine for having it? Or do they get 24 hours to get a permit the right way?
Now, once they get the abatement notice, then if they don't submit the application, they're subject to the $200.
No, it's not the way, I think that's I think that's wrong, John.
Number 7, John. it says
7.
within
If someone
24
has a
hours.
pod
We're-
now,
There's 2 situations we're talking about. One is where the ordinance is already in place, and somebody tries to sneak a pod in, okay? Under those circumstances, we give them the abatement notice when they come in. Whether they do it within 24 hours or not, it's still $200.
But what if they don't know?
Actually, you're right about that, Paul.
Right.
So, and that's a very valid point. In other words, there are people now who
Have
have
'em.
pods in place, and they are all going to be subject to that $200.
So I would think that
Permit
what
fee.
we would want to do is we would want to send a notice to these people before the ordinance is effective, saying this ordinance is going to become effective. If you apply for the permit ahead of time, it's a $50 fee. If you don't apply for it as of the effective date, you're going to get charged a $200 fee, and that'll give these people an incentive to come down and file these applications ahead of time.
I don't agree. What if somebody doesn't uses a different manufacturer? This gentleman says that they tell the people when they take what if somebody brings in one from a different company that's not so diligent in notifying their customers?
We
have to notify.
We have to do it.
But how do we know where they all are?
How but I'm saying, somebody gets one delivered, I'm doing a renovation, I call up somebody from the phone book, order one of these things, the guy delivers it to my driveway, I have no idea there's an ordinance, and I get a $200 fine, or do I get a chance to go and give my $50 for that? Ron Romack comes by and says, you're not allowed to have this unless you have a permit. I go down to Borough Hall and get my permit right away, I should be fined $200.
Well, there are a lot of ordinances on the book that the general population is not aware of.
And they get fined for them?
And they
Yeah.
do things, and if it's against an ordinance, yes.
We are going to send something to everybody's house in the newsletter, correct, Mayor? And it will, of course, be on TV.
But now that brings up a question, though. How can, I'm gonna go back to the beginning. How can we now subject Mr. Smith, who has a container on his property right now, which is not illegal, we pass an ordinance and tell him he has to apply? I think Mr. Smith can tell you to go pound salt because he was there before the ordinance.
Wow, we specifically talked about
No,
that
we
with
did
Dave,
talk
and he
about
said,
that,
no,
that's right.
it's not grandfathered.
I disagree with
ordinance
that,
like this
and I
is
still
not
disagree
grandfathered.
with it.
John?
I don't agree with the mayor. I think,
Excuse me.
I think
him on
an
television, he
ordinance
gets
like,
sassy.
I think an ordinance like this can be, or cannot permit any grandfathering.
But I think the resident needs to have an opportunity to apply in a reasonable amount of time and only pay the $50.
Yeah, I can't see you smacking.
That's what I'm saying.
From what Bob is saying, and he raises a good point, Ron doesn't know where they all are. And then if all of a sudden it's discovered and the ordinance is passed, they have to get this thing done within 24 hours, or they're gonna get hit with $200 fine.
Well, you know, okay, I can probably tell you where there's 8 or 10, and we can notify those people. But let's say for sake of discussion, we missed that one over there,
Right.
and 2 weeks after the ordinance is passed, somebody finds it. Well, we can find out when that was placed there. If it was prior to the ordinance, and we didn't know it, we can cut that person and say, hey, we did not notify you, we did not know it's here, you got to apply. But if it was put in after the ordinance, then they're subjected to it. I mean, how can you tell somebody, because we didn't notify them, we didn't see it, and now you're gonna hit them with a $200 fine?
No, you
I
can't.
had thought we were gonna add another provision to the ordinance that was gonna cover the ones that were existing as of the effective date. So there's no question that, number one, it's not grandfathered, and number two, that they would have the right to come in under the $50 permit fee.
In a
I
reasonable
thought-
amount of
I
time.
That's what I thought about a
thought-
week we had in there.
I thought that's what we were gonna put into the ordinance. And that's why when I started to read it, I didn't see anything that specifically covered. Certainly, when we discussed it, and maybe you weren't here, Bob, when we talked about it, certainly we wanted to penalize the person that tried to not come in and get the permit. Once
I have no issue with that.
once the ordinance was in effect. I think we have to be, we certainly should give the existing ones the opportunity to come in, and I don't know if 24 hours is, but certainly the initial application should only be $50 for them, Tel.
I'm fine with that.
John, is that too much to include and vote on tonight, or do we have to?
Well, if we follow the procedure that was outlined before, that would be accomplished. I.e., if there is a general notification to everybody in town who has pods on their property now, that you are going to be required to go down to Borough Hall and apply for a permit, then it seems to me we accomplished that first step of giving everybody a heads up that they can just not leave that pods in place on their property without incurring a penalty. And we can tell them, go down now, make the application.
We should probably notify this guy. The guy that was just here of that, and he'll go around and tell his customers.
Right. And then if you don't
That's
make,
only one company, but
But
It is
it's
not
probably the
grandfathered.
majority of the people anyway.
At least around the ones that I see are all pods.
And then if
Ron,
you
know how
don't,
to contact this gentleman now?
so that would be a way to do it. Ask Ron to ask Mr. Silva to notify every one of his customers that they have to go down to Borough Hall, make the application, in which event it'll be a $50 permit fee.
Or ask him to give Ron the addresses
list
to
of the-
notify them. I don't
right.
think we can leave it up to the company and then later say we wanna fine them when we don't give them the notice.
Or I can suggest, I don't know if John is legal, but under the property maintenance orders, we have to give them 10 days notice by certified mail, give them the standard 10 days notice, so that it's on record. They've got 10 days to come down and do it, just don't take any enforcement action unless they ignore the notification.
Which would be consistent with the abatement notice that the ordinance provides for.
Yeah, but just this is for pre-existing problems,
Right.
rather than the overzealous with this thing.
Okay, Councilman, are we ready to poll the council?
Yes, we are, go ahead.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Next, I have second reading.
Mayor. Hey, Ron, do you have other companies you know the names of, Ron?
Off the top of my head.
I mean, just, should we send a notice to them that we have this ordinance in place, maybe to all the companies local that supply?
There's only one other council that I'm aware of that
Okay.
has these.
Could we send a copy of the ordinance to him, to both of the companies, just so that at least they're fairly, you know, I have a problem with somebody who, you know, calls up Joe Schmo's pod and has them, you know, delivered and then gets a $200 fine because they don't know that nobody warned them, so.
I understand, not a problem. John, when will this be effective, this ordinance?
30 days after tonight.
I mean, 30?
30 days.
A month from tonight.
Tonight?
It gets published on the 26th. If that's next Thursday, it will be the 26th.
So 30 days from
Oh.
the date of publication.
July 26th.
From the, no, actually, it says from the publication date.
Right.
It says the ordinance takes effect immediately upon final adoption and publication. So publication is on the 26th of this month,
So it's effective.
Effective the 26th.
the 26th
Of June or July?
of this month.
This month.
So that's when it comes out in the paper. That's when it's published.
I thought we had 1 month.
Don't we have a 30-day,
I think that may be just this bond ordinance.
oh, just on bonds? Okay.
Mhm, yes.
Then it's gonna happen, July 1. Any other questions on that? Okay, Bob, you have 1144. That's my house number.
Yes, this is a second reading of an ordinance to amend Chapter 9, Building and Housing of the Code of the Borough of Mountainside to provide for fees for changing contractors during the course of a construction project. So moved.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Poll the council, please.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
And we have bills.
We do. Be it resolved by the mayor and council of the borough of Mountainside.
Mr. Mayor, public input on that last ordinance?
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, before we go on to that, do I have anybody in the audience who'd like to discuss 1144-2008?
Seeing no public participation, I move that section be closed.
And motion to close the public session, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so be it. Now, do you want to do the vote again, or?
Probably should.
You should, okay.
Okay, do the
Councilman
vote.
Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes, again.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Paul, did you vote yes before you voted yes?
I
Bills and
voted yes
claims.
before I voted yes again.
Okay.
All right, now we'll pay our bills. Be it resolved by the mayor and council of the borough of Mountainside that the following bills of the person's name and for the amount stated below, having been duly audited and found to be correct this 17th day of June, 2008. The same be paid after council's review if and when funds are available, and that the mayor, council president, administrator, and treasurer are hereby authorized and directed to sign and deliver warrants for same. Total $1,548,180.57. As always, a copy of the bills is on record at Borough Hall.
I have a movement for the payment of the bills. Do I have a second?
Second.
Hold the council, please.
Councilman Messler?
Yes.
Councilman Marabelli?
Yes.
Councilman Mortimer?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Next, I have council comments. Any member of council have a comment or a report they'd like to give?
I just want to thank you, Bob, for going easy on me on my son.
I'm not done with the meeting yet, Pete.
Maybe that was premature.
That might be. Anybody else have any comments?
Just a reminder, Mr. Mayor, about our 4th of July fireworks right around the corner. It'll be at Our Lady of Lourdes Field and Deerfield at dusk on July 4th. The rain date, which we don't even want to talk about, will be July 5th, Saturday, July 5th. Thank you very much.
That was very intuitive. We're gonna have the July 4th fireworks on July 4th.
Yes. Let's hope so.
Anything else from council? Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey.
Public, Bob.
Audience participation.
I have no audience. Do I have any members of the audience who'd like to say something? You guys are making me think there's somebody out there. Okay. Do I have any member of the audience who would like to participate or say something to the governing body?
There you have it.
We do.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Got a smart guy in the audience.
Sorry, should have been louder.
See you behind everybody else.
My name's Ed LaTourette. That's LA_TOURETTE. I live at 1454 Dunn Parkway, better described as Block 10E, Lot 14. At the back of the property, there is an easement owned by the township for the purpose of stormwater runoff. The easement on the tax rolls is supposed to be 15 feet wide, which it approximately was when I bought the property in 1992. It is now 33 feet wide, and it's in grave danger of swallowing my deck and then maybe my house after that. A number of years ago, I spoke with Dr. Disco about this issue, and he related that he understood that the township had responsibility for the easement, and at one point he even sent out, I believe it was Caffrey Tree Service, to trim some of the foliage that grows along the edges of it. He represented to me at that time, and I know this is all hearsay, I just want to give background, that he would attempt to have some sort of shoring up done at some point, but he could not give me anything in the way of a date. The last time I heard from him now is probably 4 or 5 years ago. The easement has swallowed 2 fences.
Are you talking about a brook?
Yeah.
So when it comes under by Children's Special Ed, it kind of wraps around the back there behind Famous Dave's, and then in Westfield, the border there.
I think we have photographs of this.
Yeah, was the big deal with the development back there on Longview?
Yeah, well, there's, the Shea property is behind it. That's,
Okay, I know.
Went back and forth there a long time. He's putting 3 homes back there, which would probably only exacerbate the situation. But the situation as it stands now, every time it rains hard, the brook fills up and it gets wider, which just presents all sort of problems. As I said, Dr. Disco had represented at that point that he didn't know if there were going to be funds to do something like this. It would be a big job. I can't do the job myself, evidently, because it's your easement, so I have no legal right to do anything to it. I have also been told that another property like mine actually has been abated in town. I think it's on Central Avenue near the school. I'm at the end of my rope. I don't know what to do here. As I said, I can't touch it legally, and the fact that probably in the last 4 or 5 years, it's probably gotten 6 or 7 feet wider. I have a bunch of pictures if you feel like looking at them, but it's really become dangerous at this point.
Dr. Disco is semi-retired. In fact, right now he's in not great health. But what I'd like to do is get this information to his son, Michael Disco, who's now the borough, functioning as the borough engineer, and get some action as to what can be done, what should be done, and when it should be done. Showing us pictures, I'm sure what you're saying is accurate and true. I'm not an engineer. I wouldn't even tell you how to fix it. But I'm glad you brought this up to our attention. It's first I've heard about it. And
as I said, I thought I was doing the right thing speaking with the engineer directly.
And as far as abating one on Central Avenue, I don't think we've ever done that.
That's the one we were gonna abate, and we built all the pipes in, and the lady wouldn't let us in?
No, we didn't put any pipes in or
There was
anything.
some, yeah, there was
We're going
there was
to.
concrete.
There was one
was another
property
area we did.
that
We
we
did do
addressed.
Well-
How far upstream from the enclosed culvert or the enclosed channel?
It's, my next door neighbor has concrete and fencing. Then it just
At
becomes
an end
dirt
of
and
your
rock.
property line?
Yeah,
Concrete.
yeah, conveniently.
You have no concrete on yours? Yours is just
Dirt, rocks, you know, really the only thing that even holds it at the size that it is what vegetation is left along the sides. And there is one big tree on the far side of it that I guess one good storm could probably get to knock over, and that'd land either on my family room or my kitchen.
Can you, I don't know if you want to leave what you have there.
Sure.
Please.
But can you talk to Michael
Absolutely, yes. Mr.
and get him in touch with the gentleman and
Yes.
get a ball moving?
Is it the whole stream on your property, actually? Is the whole, or is it like halfway in the middle
Oh,
of it?
no, I believe.
You own both sides of it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my property goes beyond.
You know, it's interesting. So the water pools up when you have a heavy rainstorm?
Oh, no, it doesn't pool, it rages. It
Because we
goes like
did,
the
you know, we
Colorado
did
River.
a project, probably, what, 20 years ago, Bob, would you say?
Yeah.
To try to address that problem, and the result was the concrete channel that apparently ends at your property line.
Right. Yeah, as I said, when I bought the property, it was fairly well-defined, and it was right around what it was supposed to be. There was some wood sort of bulkheading there, but I think Hurricane Floyd took care of that, and a fence. You know, but now it's just to the point where it only takes a decent rain, and the brook fills up, and it
How
just
deep
erodes
is
down.
this?
Probably 3 feet, 4 feet. Higher on my side, because my property goes downhill. At one end, it's probably like 3 or 4 feet. At the high end, it's probably 8.
So
You have a picture of
This
it?
property slopes. Yeah.
we're looking at this, and this is approximately 3 feet? If this is your lawn, this is approximately 3 feet?
At the lower end, and then at the upper end.
Okay, so we're not talking a major cavern or something? Oh, okay. All right, this does,
This is your deck?
Yes, that's the back of the house. That's the view from standing in the brook, looking back at my house.
yeah.
When you talked to Dr. Disco, was there any solution from an engineering standpoint discussed?
He seemed to be very concerned about even really getting involved with it because of funding. I mean, it's not gonna be an inexpensive thing. It's a long run. You know, the property is 100 and some odd feet wide at that point.
You know what the
And-
biggest problem, don't you?
Well, probably the state. Yeah, I believe
This
it.
thing actually gets white caps on it when it runs.
Oh, it goes. It really goes. Yeah, you could kayak down this thing if you wanted to after it rains hard. But that part's fine. You know, I understood that there was gonna be running water occasionally in the property when I bought it. So that's really not my issue. It's just the fact that it has so wildly eroded my property. I mean, my son used to be able to set up his pitching target in the backyard and pitch there. And now all the land that used to happen on is essentially gone.
Actually, I think we ought to tax you for waterfront property.
But can I take the percentage off that I lost?
Riparian rights.
One-way street.
You could, my phone number and info is on the folder.
Okay, I'm gonna give this to Jim Debbie to give to Mike Disco.
Yes, and then if
He's
you
a
would,
very
when we're off tape,
competent-
just give me your
Yeah, I'll-
information. for
He's got it right here.
Okay, very good. Good. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir.
See ya.
Any other member of the audience? I thought he was the new reporter for the Westfield Leader, to be honest with you.
Part-time.
No, that's what I thought you came out. I thought you had a little tape recorder in your hand. And I saw the folder, and I know there's a new reporter from the Observer, and I thought maybe that was you.
I don't think they hire old men for this.
They hire anybody who works cheap. Right? No comment. Any other member of the public like to speak?
Let's hear.
Seeing no more, I notice the public portion be closed. Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey permits the public to be excluded from certain matters to be discussed by the governing body, and whereas the mayor and council desire to discuss, and this evening is a employee benefit program and also employee disability, which is the matters which are exclusion of the public is permitted, whereas the public disclosure of the results of this discussion will be made as soon as the matter discussed has been resolved by the governing body of the Borough of Mountainside. Now therefore it be resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Mountainside that the aforesaid mentioned matter shall be discussed in closed session upon adoption of this resolution. I ask to go into executive session at 9:10. And I'm also asking the Borough Finance Officer to be in there because she has pertinent information. I have a motion?
So moved.